What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin 215.
What is up, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Talkin 215 podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whatever time of the day you are listening, welcome to this week's edition of Talkin 215.
Can I get a Go Birds right now? Let's get a Go Birds going. What do we say?
Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds.
Yeah, that's right. That's damn right, because that's all we say around here, man. Go Birds. Look, fly, Eagles, fly till we die. That's what you're saying. Like, I'm sick and tired of people just saying, like, oh, no, like, you can't be a fan and show support to them. That's so corny. That's all, like, yeah. And I'm obviously referencing our NovaCare takeover this morning where we were going out there to support the team, show the players, like, hey, you know what? Yeah, you have sucked for 3 weeks. You've heard it. We all heard it. Like, if anybody knows it, it's the players. But we wanted to go out there and just show them a little positivity. Say, like, hey, man, like, we still ride with you. Like, we still got your back. We're all struggling right now. You got to figure your shit out. Like, we're not saying, like, oh, you're good. Everything's fine. No, like, we're just saying, look, you've heard it for 3 weeks straight. We've said it for 3 weeks straight. We've been as negative as anybody out there. But this was just a fun way of us trying to be like, look, let's give them a little bit of positivity. You know, all Batmans, no trash cans. That's what we're saying. This team is all Batmans, no trash cans. And just, you know, fuck them. We're going to win it anyway. And so we just went out there trying to throw a little positivity. And so it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was corny. You know, like everybody's saying, like, but you know what? So what? Corny can be cool too. Like, fandom can be corny. We're grown
Fandom
men.
is corny.
Yeah, we're grown men, fans of other grown men playing a sport. Like, that can be corny. But we love this team. We all bleed green. And we just went out there to do our thing. So, you know, shout out. Shout out to Chris, really, MVP, going out there holding it down with me this morning. So, Chris, you know, hats off to you, brother. You killed it.
Nah, man, it goes both ways. You said it best, but they've heard all the negativity. And look, they've deserved it, sure, over the last couple of weeks. Like, no doubt. We've said here on this podcast, we had a whole venting session. The entire episode was a venting session. So, like, we criticize. They're not above criticism, but I mean, the way that they hear the negativity doesn't hurt to show them some positivity. And they saw it today. Like, they were out there. They saw us. They heard us. The Eagles heard us, the players, the GM, coaches, whatever you want to say, they heard us. And I think it's going to make a difference. I hope that it does. But yeah, man, I had a blast. Like, I would absolutely do that again. Definitely loved it. Loved chilling with you and all the fans and the Eagles social media team and, you know, everything. So it was just a blast, man. I had a great time.
No, exactly. Coach, before I go to you, I just want to, you know, kind of piggyback off what you just said there. Can we just hats off to the Eagles organization? You know, we tagged them in our stuff just because, like, we were talking about the Eagles. So whether it's hashtag Eagles or we actually tagged at Eagles and all. And so we tagged them everything. But you know how many people tag them every single day? I mean, I'm talking tens of thousands of posts every day across social media, all social media. And somehow they caught wind of this and they rolled out the red carpet. I mean, they had a Dunkin truck out there. And for everybody saying, like, oh, must be nice, you know, they're trying to make money for one of their biggest sponsors. Everything free. They're handing out, They had iced coffee, lattes, hot coffee. They had refreshers, iced tea, water, donuts, munchkins, sandwiches. They had everything. They set up cornhole, plinko. They had games. Hats off to just a top tier organization. Just seeing this, you know, small podcast. Yeah, for everybody saying out there, you know, oh, is this a little small podcast? Yeah, we're small, motherfucker. Like, we out there trying to make a difference. We're just out there trying to have fun. And they just found this small podcast.
We brought our own coffee, our own donuts.
We had no idea they were doing any of that. So we're walking in with the jugs of Joe in either hand and a couple dozen, you know, donuts. And this thinking, like, manager at Dunkin's like, oh, no, we got that covered. You're good. And they roll out like 15 to 20 dozen donuts, you know, tons of iced coffee, refreshers, hot coffee, everything. And so, like, yeah, you know, turnout was less than optimal. Like, obviously we were hoping for a big crowd. We got a ton of views on all this stuff, you know, a lot of negative response, some positive, but we figured there'd be a little bit more. But hey, shout out to everybody that did come there. And like you said, Chris, the players saw it. I mean, Howie Roseman went nuts when we first got there. And then hopefully the Eagles do end up posting that clip they got of Jalen Hurts. I mean, that was so cool. when Jalen rolls up in his tinted out car. We have no idea who it is. Just slams on the brakes, rolls down his window, just kind of gives a little side eye with a smile, little nod of approval. I mean, just seeing that, you're like, all right, you know what? Screw the turnout, screw the doubters, screw the haters. Like, this was worth it. Like, we made a difference. If that's it, like, we did something right. But seriously, shout out to the Eagles, shout out to Dunkin, shout out Chris over at NJ.com, coming and talking to us for a while. Shout out the Eagles security staff out there. Really, shout out to the whole team, because they did it up right.
Forget making my day. Forget making my day with Jalen Hurts, Sarjo. But Jalen Hurts pulling up, doing what he did, made my fucking season, made my year. Like, that shit was unfucking real. Like, call me a fanboy, call me whatever. I love fucking Jalen Hurts, and to see him of all people who doesn't really show a lot of emotions, kind of we as a fan base, as an NFL fan base, even a lot of people make fun of him. He never shows emotion, never did. He did not, and a lot of players drove right in, looked at us, maybe didn't roll down windows.
Yeah, a couple like nods, thumbs up, waves.
Yeah. Even Kelsey, like he looked at us, he recognized us, he read our signs, he saw
the hands up.
Exactly. But a lot of players just strolled right in, and I get it. They're going to work. Like, I don't expect them to get out of their cars and come dap us up and give us a hug. Jalen could have rolled in there. We never would have known it was him. His tinted windows were so tinted.
Limo tint.
Yeah, like straight up, just straight black. You cannot see into the windows. He took his time. He stopped, rolled down his window, and he looked at us. And I'm telling you, that nod of approval. I've been telling people. I told 94 WIP, I can't stop hyping it up. They better post a video, because I'm gonna look like an idiot otherwise. But Jake, you were there. You saw it. The social admin saw it. It happened. Dude, that was so awesome. Out of a guy that is just so stoic and
I mean, Hugh
really
and Joe were like, look, he probably showed more emotion doing that than he did after a win.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was so cool to see, like, and he's the leader of this team. For him to take his time, 5 seconds to do that, he didn't have to. He could have rolled right in. And I mean, say what you will about Jalen Hurts, man, that shows some respect. I mean, he didn't have to stop.
If he's doing that, it meant something to him. You know what I mean? Like, if he's the one doing it, it means something to him.
Absolutely. 100%.
Coach, 7 minutes and 15 seconds in, we have been remiss to not hear your voice. What you got to say, brother?
Nah, man. I mean, you guys said it all. I was just going to echo some of the things that you already said. I think the both of you and everybody that, showed up down there at the NovaCare today did a great job. And just to, kind of piggyback off what you said, Jake, fandom is corny, man. Like, I wear jerseys of kids that are 10 years younger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do. And I don't care about it. And they're 10 years younger than me, and I wear their last name on my back. And when I see them on TV, to me, they're still these guys that are 10 years older than me. They're adults, and I'm a kid. Always. I'm always going to be like that. So, I mean, fandom in itself is corny when you break it down. But what's super corny in the literal definition of the word is hating on some shit that you don't understand for no reason, to be honest with you. So I'm always going to have you guys back. I think what we did today was pretty damn cool. I mean, I would have fanboyed if Jalen Hurts gave me a wink and a nod, that would have been cool. But at the end of the day, man, look, we don't even have to harp on this too much, because we did it because we're Eagles fans. We did it because we love the Birds, and we're like, damn it, man, there's been way too much negativity going on. Let's try and spread some positivity. And you know what? 'Tis the season. This is holiday cheer. This is what people do. So why not do it with our favorite team? And you know what? If we can show some love to the podcast and grow our brand at the same time, holy shit, what a crazy idea, right? It's not that deep, guys. All right? It's really not that deep. We're fans just like you are. But we thought, hey, here's a chance to go ahead and go down there, show some brand awareness. And if you're listening to the pod, we appreciate you for it. So why not?
Yeah, no, and I just want to kind of address real quick just some of the main things that we've heard on the more negative side, and not even going to be like, oh, screw these guys, like fuck them, like all this. No, like the big things where I'm remiss to that I didn't make it more aware for those that didn't listen to our episode last week, and now almost 10 days ago. This wasn't a spur of the moment, like, oh, let's get attention, this is a good idea. Like, we had talked about this in the pre-game episode to the Seahawks game, where we said, look, man, the wheels are falling off. This is 2 games that we needed one of them. like to really lock in our spot. We win one of those games, we're in a great spot. The wheels are starting to fall off. If we lose this game to Seattle, wheels are off. We have to go down to the NovaCare and do some. We talked about this, 10 days ago now. So, I understand how it looked because I didn't really put it out there. And obviously, we have a great group of listeners that we love, but all the people that are, hopping on negatively, they're people that are never listening. You know what I mean? So they never knew that. And so it's on me that I didn't put it out there more publicly that this was something we had planned. This is something that we had obviously not been like when the Eagles lose, but it was like a look, man, if they lose, and unfortunately they did, we got to do something. Like we got to hop up for our boys and we got to do this. And then for all the people like, oh, they're just clout chasing all. Like I just said, first of all, we had planned this and we had set our intentions behind it. We need to give them that sigh of relief that winning didn't give them because they lost. We got to be negative, beat them down like Philly does because we're a smart, knowledgeable fan base. We're a great fan base and we're as negative as anybody on them. But then you got, what? There's only so much negativity will get you. They hear the same shit every day. Nothing's going to change. Let's go out there, show them some love, show them we got their back. We still ride with them. This team is too damn good to fold on. And then, while we're down there, if we throw our @ on a poster, like it'd be silly not to. You see any organization doing any event, whether it's a charity event, whether it's an event they have planned with another business, whatever, you see them big and small, everything. They're throwing their logos, their brands everywhere. So look, for us to try to grow our brand a little bit, I can understand to the hater, like thinking that we're hopping on something like, it could look a little sus being like, oh, these boys are just pandering and everything. But for anybody that listens, anybody that actually follows us and can actually see our heart behind all this, they'll know like we love this team. We ride and die, fly Eagles fly. And they know our intentions behind it. So the people that actually listen and that are the real ones, they know what we're doing. They respect it. Hopefully when we do it again, hopefully we don't have to do it again for a losing streak, but when we do it again just to show them love, we can get you guys out there. We can all show them love. We can make some more signs, make some better signs, some better slogans as well. I do love the Philly Dogs one, DAWGS, as we got the Philly Dogs here. But no, ton of fun. Just wanted to kind of address that real quick before we hop into the Eagles-Giants preview. Just because I feel like I say remiss now. I mean, this is like, pathetic when they were losing. That was a word I used 20 times. Now I said remiss now 4 or 5 times this episode. But I'd be remiss not to mention all that.
Nah, man, you said it as eloquently as possible. I think you and Chris covered all the bases there. And, it's funny because, we as fans, we vent on social media. We put our thoughts on social media. We put our feelings on social media. It's what we do. That's how we see all this shit, right? And I actually am in the minority, I think, here, where I'm fine with AJ Brown and whoever else venting on social media and going at fans from time to time. That means they're fired up and pissed off, to be honest with you. Like, if they're addressing stuff, like, I know some people, and like, look, Chris, I may totally disagree with you on this. Jake, I may totally disagree with you on this. You may have completely different opinions, but that's what it is. It's just an opinion, I swear to God. My thought is, I sat here and watched today while you guys were doing some good ass shit as fans and for the podcast. And I'm sitting here on Twitter cussing people out, going off on them because I'm mad. I'm mad because I know how good you guys are. I know the intentions behind this. So when I see AJ Brown doing shit like that too, I'm like, I know where you're coming from, brother, because I know you're probably thinking, I know how good we are. I know how good the guys in this locker room are. I know how good we can be and how good I am. So I empathize. I get it, AJ.
Yeah.
I get it, Slay. I get it, all these guys. So again, I may be in the minority with that, but these guys are constantly scrutinized, constantly picked apart. They may say something in a quote where the media takes just that little sound bite and it's like, oh, Jalen Hurts says he hates puppies. Did you guys hear that? No, that's not what was said. And then it gets blasted everywhere. So I get the frustration, man. The fact that these guys are frustrated on social tells me they're pissed off, tells me that they want to change. And let's see if it does Sunday, man. No better team than the boys in blue to go up against this Sunday or Monday. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And, shout out to you, Tom. you, Joey, and Tom, and all the other
And
Eagles
Sean, of
content
course,
creators.
new Papa
And
Sean.
Sean, of course.
Yeah, and for
I
those that
saw
listen,
Sean's tweets.
Sean's son was born. He has a beautiful, healthy son. I know a lot of people were asking about that, as we've talked about that on air for a while. But he is now a father of a lovely, healthy son. Both child and wife are doing wonderfully.
Yeah, obviously, congratulations to you, Sean, and Sean for going to bat with a newborn. He's taken care of. He's still going to bat on Twitter for us, man. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, shout out to all you guys for when we're on the front lines. You guys are holding down the trenches on Twitter. We needed it because I didn't know what I was getting myself into once I got home. But yeah, shout out to you guys and all the other folks that were going to bat for us.
Nah, it's wild. Like a group of hundreds of thousands, millions of people that all want the same result. Like at the end of the day, we all want a Super Bowl. We all want the Eagles to win. It's wild, like the hate that people like. But I like Joey just said, like AJ Brown, Darius Slade, like they're frustrated. Like I get it. It's a frustrating time in the city right now. Like we're looking at a team that's just really struggling on nearly all facets of the game. But hopefully we can right that ship this week. And like Coach said, no better team to face off than the Giants. I've already placed my Boston Scott anytime touchdown. That's a lock. I mean, that's just a guarantee every single week. You place it early before the odds gets bet down and you get in, on the best money. But look, this is going to be a real good game. Christmas game, first game on Christmas for the Eagles at home, Monday night. It always seems like they save the blackout game for the Giants. It always seems like it's the Giants they're playing when they play in the all black. So always a fresh uniform. Gonna look good, play good, feel good. Let's right the ship.
I might throw on 2 for Boston Scott. Honestly, yeah, I might shoot for the 2 tutties because I mean I feel like they kind of force it once we got the Giants. He is the Giants killer, so that's a good bet. I should probably check that out because I haven't yet.
You got to take the over on Boston Scott. Anything like anything Boston Scott. I'm taking the over on Boston Scott passing yards.
Sacks,
going into this game too, boys, it's gonna be the second game that Patricia has like a little bit more control of the defense, right? So this was his first game. Mixed reviews, we know how that works. We know what it is. We have our gripes and everything like that from the Seahawks game. But I don't know if you guys got a chance to see his presser today, like the first time that he was fully speaking and talking. I mean, it almost touches on a little bit of what we covered in the beginning of this podcast. Of course, a reporter asked him about the relationship between him and Slay. And he said, look, I just hugged him before I walked into this presser. He goes, I'm not the same man I was 7 years ago that I am today. He's like, do I wish I could have done things differently 7 years ago and said things differently 7 years ago? Absolutely. But the second I signed on here and Slay was here, he was one of the first persons to talk to me. We hashed it out immediately. I said that I'm not that guy anymore. I've learned from that. And Patricia's also slimmer. I'm not saying that has anything to do with being a good coach or not, but it's almost like he's a new person, He's not this egotistical guy that was a head coach where it's like everything runs through me. I'll call you out. I'll be mean to you, Slay. I'll say some shit I shouldn't. He went from being out of football to then being an analyst with the Eagles, now getting another shot at being a defensive coordinator. And this is a guy who is appreciative and relishing every single second and moment that he's in there. So much so that, Jake, one thing we talked about for years on this pod was a coach admitting what he didn't do right, his ability to adjust, and saying, I got to change. And he said, yeah, hindsight, I wish I had a couple coverages back. I wish I had a safety over top of James Bradbury. I wish I would have called a little bit of a different coverage on DK Metcalf on that one. He goes, I 100% would want to do that. Instead, you hear coaches speak up here from around the league being like, we just got to do a better job. We thought we were in the right play. They just
got to execute better.
We got to execute better. They ran a good play. And he was like, nah, I could have done better there. I absolutely could have put my guys in better positions.
Oh, yeah.
So I really thought that was somewhat of a breath of fresh air coming out of a loss, if there is one, to see this was a guy who I've made fun of on Twitter saying he's overrated. I don't think he's that good, blah, 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 product of Belichick and Brady. It's where I was like, damn. He apologized to Slay. They're good, and he's changing. So I'm kind of interested to see what he's going into this Monday and how that defense looks with a full week to prepare now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, with coaching, it's the double A. It's accountability and adjustment. Coach being accountable, saying like, you know what? Yeah, that game plan didn't work. Like, that's on me. I set the wrong game plan, and then making the adjustment, not being too stubborn to be like, all right, but it's going to work this time. Like, I know it's going to work this time. And so that's the number one sign of intelligence in a coach. We've said it a million times on the podcast. So for him to go out there and say that, I mean, that's huge. But at the end of the day, like, talk is cheap, really. Like, look, you saw us, you heard the first 15 minutes of this episode, like, hey, we love the Birds, go Birds, we rock them. We all do that. But look, we still got to get back to business. Like, today was fun. We hyped them up, but we're not, like we said to a million different people today, we're not ignoring their shortcomings. Nobody's above accountability. Nobody's above criticism. And right now, talk is cheap. Like, show up or shut up. Josh Sweat, where are you? Like, you had a good tackle for a loss. That was great. Show up. Hassan Reddick, like, you're at 11 sacks. That's great. I was talking on the last episode. I was like, I can't believe he has 11 sacks because it seems like he's doing nothing. Like, and also 0 forced fumbles where he had 6 last year. Like, Jalen Carter, he had a little bit of a slump there. He's starting to pick it back up. Jordan Davis, where have you been, man? Like, you started the season hot. All of our corners, like Keely Ringo, like, hats off, had a good for his first start, did great, you know. And Avonte Maddox coming back, that's going to be huge if he's healthy and everything. Reed Blankenship, we've been saying, other than he's had more bad drives than bad games. He's overall, there's a reason he's the number one safety leader in Pro Bowl votes. But like, after that, like, when it's an absolute miracle for us to get a turnover, like, that's a bad thing. We intercept the ball on less than 1.5% of passes. That's terrible. And we're playing some awful quarterbacks. We're playing against Sam Howell twice. We played against Drew Lock. We're playing against guys that just aren't good. We played against Josh Allen, elite quarterback, but guy throws the ball. Like, we know that he throws the ball into bad areas. Not even close to picking him off. Like, look, love what he said all the right things, but at the end of the day, this is a team with a third string quarterback who, look, it's a cool story. Tommy DeVito, he's got the Italian mafia behind him. Like, that's great. He's going to, put a horse head in your bed if you beat him. Like, that's cool. Beat his ass. This guy is not in the same league as you. Show the fuck up, defense. And that's my thoughts on that.
Dude, I'm part Italian, and I can't stand this Tommy DeVito shit. Like, I'm being honest.
You wouldn't believe it in the beard, but I'm Biasato. Like, I'm Italian.
I need all the guys that you just mentioned to get a sack, and then I don't care what their sack dance is. I don't need the sweaty. I don't need the Reddick thumbs down. I don't need none of that. I need every Eagle that gets a sack to give them some of the manja. I need it from them.
They need to pump in Dominic the Donkey every time they get a sack.
A lot of people don't know about Dominic the Donkey. That's a lot of people don't know about that song.
Come on,
can be
now.
Heard in your Olive Garden restroom, by the way,
and can be heard on the new Philadelphia Eagles Christmas special.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And it played this morning as soon as Big Dom drove in, just saying.
Yeah, we played out. Perfect.
It was
perfect timing. Big Dom rolls in. We got the big speaker out there, and then the Eagles rendition of Dominic the Donkey starts playing right as Dom, and it wasn't planned one bit. Big Dom looking good, smiled, waved. He was a guy that obviously, he enjoyed it. He only has so much to do with the team. Like, obviously he's a big part of the team, like, not selling him short at all, but he's not a coach. He's not a player, but you could tell he was like, this is fucking cool. Like, this is nice. Cause he drives in, sees the trash can, sees the, all the negative shit. And then you saw him, he like rolled down his window. He was like nodding his head with a big smile. Like, this is cool. This is nice.
That was pretty awesome timing too, with the song. Even like as Jason was pulling up, that's what we just
as Jason's pulling up, it's playing his Christmas song. It was wild how all this stuff. It was like the stereo just knew when they were coming in. It was nuts. And then a Tide advertisement when when Fletcher Cox came in, you have the Tide advertisement.
Just everything worked out so perfectly. But I would love to see Jalen Carter, hit that, as last name here being Nocella, pretty Italian myself, but let's take down DeVito a peg here. He's not the couple quarterbacks we face this year, like a Mahomes and Allen. We've made everybody look good. Jake, you said it. Sam Howell looked fantastic against us.
Oh yeah, Sam Howell, like we said it then. Boston Scott to the Giants is Sam Howell to the Eagles.
I don't get it. Like, these teams, like, they're just. I mean, I do get it because the defense isn't playing well, but like, we're making these quarterbacks, like the most sacked quarterback I think in the NFL in Sam Howell. We don't sack him. He doesn't throw a pick. we got these guys. Josh Allen is a perfect example. That guy is terrible protecting the ball. He makes a lot of really gutsy throws, and they don't typically work out in his fashion. We gotta get a turnover. Like I'm dying for one at this point. Like the Jalen Carter scoop and score was awesome to see, because it's like, oh shit, we got some life. We can actually score a touchdown on defense here. But I need to see it this week. You guys touch on it with the line. That'd be huge.
Oh, 100%.
I need to see it situationally, right? Like we need to see it situationally.
Doubt. I mean,
the
look,
Jalen Carter fumble was cool, but like we were down 30 at that point. Like, that Hassan Reddick sack. The Hassan Reddick sack was cool in that one game, but we were down 20. Like, I need to see situationally like a 4th and goal from the 3 and you get a sack, or we have a 7-point lead and
we're last in the league on sacks on 3rd down. Last in the league on sacks on 3rd down, which is a passing down.
How about with a minute left, you're up by 4 and Drew Lock has to go 92 yards and maybe you get a pressure, a sack, or a hit or something like that.
No, they did that. They used that up in the first 6 or 7 games. They used all the clutch sacks up.
That's what I'm saying. I need it to be situationally. This is where we talk about not all stats are created equal. Like when someone says, "Oh, we had 2 drops and you had 2 drops." Yeah, well,
exactly.
We dropped 2 touchdowns. You dropped a swing pass on 1st down. Or when people look at the penalties and they're like, 5 penalties is 5 penalties.
Like, what did we say about JT Realmuto for 75% of the season? He had more extra base hits than Alec Boehm, but had like 45 less RBIs, because whenever he got his extra base hits, it was 2 outs, nobody on. And you're like, all right, so now you get a hit. You're hitting in the 4 hole and bases are loaded and you ground into a double play. You pop out, you strike out. So it's like stats can be meaningless. It's all situational. That's a wonderful point right there, because when we get them, half the time we're down, or it's like, okay, it's a drive that's it's good because it's early in the game and like, there's still a lot of games to be played, but it's like, 2nd and 1, we sack them. Then it's 3rd and 7 and we give up a 1st down. You know what I mean? Like we joke about it all the time when we went on that stretch where we went down by 10 and then when we won 8 straight games when we had been down by 10 or more. It's like when we went down by 10, we would always tweet out like, hey, we're good. We got them right where they want them. And then now it's when we hold an offense to 3rd and 9, it's like they're thinking like, oh, we're good. We got them right where we want them, because we give up every 3rd and long. But
I want to be honest, do you boys see a difference between like 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 9 right now? Like
they're better at 3rd and 3
because there's a threat to run, right? Because you're like, oh shit, if they run, we could potentially stop them. But
they're better at 3rd and 3.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One of my favorite sayings, I say it, in life and in the workplace, because I do have a job that I work 48 hours, usually sometimes 60 hours a week at. It's amazing that not all jobs are Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I had never heard of that until I started, working for almost my entire life. But one of my favorite sayings is play dumb games, win dumb prizes. And look, we knew some of these guys were leaving and all, but at the end of the day, you're looking at last year, the Eagles' 2nd leading sack getter, Javon Hargraves, gone. Eagles' leading tackler, TJ Edwards, gone. Eagles' leading interceptions, CJ Gardner-Johnson, gone. And like, I get it. We tried to retain CJ. We knew we couldn't keep Javon. Obviously, when TJ signed in the first 5 minutes of free agency, you knew, and we said it, 2 episodes ago, we were like, hey, hats off to TJ. Like, he's back home with his family. His family lives 5 minutes from the stadium. Like, he was like, I'm going to be a Bear. Because that's everybody's dream when you're young. Yeah. So I'm not going to go on that rant. We already talked about it. But like, we lost these guys. And for the most part, we just said, you know what? We think Nakobe Dean can do it. You know what? We think Reed Blankenship, which he did, but now we're worrying about the other side of safety because we let Rodney McLeod go. Obviously a little bit older. I haven't really followed his career with the Browns too much, this season. Super nice Marcus guy at training camp.
Marcus Epps. Marcus Epps.
Excuse me. Marcus Epps. He where did he? I don't know where
he's with the Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah. Mm-hmm. Either way, like we left these guys go, and we're just like, you know what? We can probably find a safety. Budda Baker is being rumored to be out there. Maybe we can trade for him. You know what? Nakobe can probably step up. You know what? Jalen Carter can fill Javon Hargraves. Jalen Carter's playing phenomenal. I'm not like, don't take this like you said when you take a little sound bite and try to spin it. Like Jalen Carter is going to be the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, but he's not Javon Hargraves yet. He has the potential to go past him, but we played dumb games, and now we're winning dumb prizes. Now we're not getting turnovers. Now we're not making the open field tackles because because that was a lot of words coming out of my mouth at the same damn time. Because we have unathletic, unproven linebackers. We have the weakest linebacker core. Coach, we talked about it before we had A.J. Brown when Devontae Smith was the only wide receiver on the team. If he was to go down, we would have hands down the worst wide receiver room in the NFL with Quez Watkins, Hightower, Fulgham. I don't even if Fulgham was even on, if that was that year. It's just like absolute no names. And right now, we're kind of there with Shaq Leonard being the big name on this linebacker group, and he didn't even play 50% of the snaps. Like, we played these games. We played ourselves. And now we're trying to say this. And then also, it sucks when guys like James Bradbury go from being an all-pro to being what they are now. Like, you can't expect that. So you play dumb games by letting these guys go and not bringing in proven guys to fill their spots. But then you also run into a little bit of bad luck when James Bradbury has the regression he had. I don't know if it's a different system that he just isn't running the same. Like, he seemed to be great under the Gannon system. And I don't know if he's just not as good. Like, he's not a great man corner this year. It seems like that's something he really struggles with. I don't know if they're now, last year was last year. I tried to move it out of my mind once the Super Bowl was over, but he was a guy that was loved and played at an incredibly high level last year, and you're just not seeing that this year. So my rant for right now is done. I'll let you guys have a word in here, but that's just kind of my 2 cents. Like, they kind of played themselves really, and they need to really step up if they want to make a run here.
I'll kind of piggyback off that because you mentioned some of the younger guys that came in to replace some of the core pieces we had last year. But Ringo and Ricks looked really, they showed promise. Like, I'm good on kind of moving forward, but they're not. Same thing what you said about Carter is they're not there yet. Like, I think they showed a lot of promise.
They're showing stuff for sure, but they're not a proven, in their prime veteran or, a proven commodity. They still are going to make rookie mistakes. They're still going to have growing pains.
But to that point, they played a hell of a lot better than James Bradbury did in this last game. I think you guys probably saw the stats of that whole last drive, the 92 yards. I think it was Bradbury that was targeted on every single pass. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but it was pretty crazy.
Shout out Shane Haff.
On the other end of it, that was awesome. But shout out to Ringo and Ricks, man. I think they were the yardage they gave up, the QBR that they get, like they're just crazy. So excited for the future for those guys. But you're right. There's definitely some voids to fill. Hopefully in the off season. But getting a little ahead of myself there.
And I'm not ready to crown Ringo as like the next best corner on the Eagles going forward because sample size be damned. He was targeted 3 times. That's it.
Yeah.
Did he play well in those 3 targets? Absolutely. But I need a much larger sample size than that to make my determination. But you have to be intrigued by what you saw because 2 of those 3 were against DK Metcalf where, he looked big and physical with him. So I'll take that. I think the thing that bothers me the most about this Eagles team, and we could talk about this transitioning going into the Giants game, is I watched us play against San Francisco, and I watched San Francisco pick on every one of our linebackers because we had Zach Cunningham that was hurt. We had just talked about signing Shaq Leonard, and we didn't know if we were going to or not. We brought up Ben Van Sumer, and we had no answer at linebacker. So what did San Fran do? They attacked our linebackers. Then you go to play Dallas. What does Dallas do? They attacked our linebackers, and they attacked whatever corner was in man-to-man with no safety help. That just happened to be James Bradbury. I don't blame them for doing that. Bradbury's not a good man corner. They did that, and they attacked with their tight ends in the middle of the field with a linebacker that only played 11 snaps and the same ones that got beat by San Francisco. My point here is, guys, you're seeing teams exploit matchups that make sense. They say, this is the weakness on the Eagles. Jake, you just talked about it. We lost our number 1 sack guy. We lost our number 1 tackler, our number 1 interception leader. Teams are going in with a, wait for it, game plan against us. And what they're saying is, what they're saying is, this guy hasn't been good at X, Y, and Z, So what we're going to do is we're going to run
It's X, Y, and Z
until they stop it. But what the Eagles do, which I'll never understand for the life of me, is they say, here's AJ, here's Devontae, here's Goddard, hike, you boys do your thing, regardless of what the defense has been doing. I can't understand for the life of me. Seattle was giving up, I think, 68% completion percentage in the middle of the field, like almost 78%. And then we started throwing outside the hashes on screens. If you look up the analytics, Seattle Seahawks play the outside hash screen better than any defense in football.
Yep.
And yet, how many times did you see us run that quick wide receiver screen? 5,
Yeah, I mean,
6?
it was like 5 or 6 times.
For like what, 5-6 yards? Maybe.
We had a couple that were negative.
So that's not what I'm understanding. You saw the weakness was in the middle of the field. They had a safety out. They had a defensive tackle out. Bobby Wagner's their only linebacker, and he would have to flow with Jalen Hurts or wherever Goddard went. You could have exploited the middle of the field the entire time, but for some reason you decided to switch it up. Why aren't we doing what other teams do to us? Exploiting the weaknesses and exploiting the matchups. That is literally what football and sports are. If you have a rookie guarding Michael Jordan, guess what? Jordan's not passing it. He's saying, until you switch somebody better on me, I'm about to drop 60 on this guy. You keep going at it. But for some reason, outside of the Minnesota Vikings game, when we decided to run it for like 20 straight plays, I cannot think of another time where we've said, ooh, this is working. Let's keep running it, instead of just saying, nah, we need to go back to our same 5 to 6 plays that we run every week. So I think that's the most frustrating thing to me right now.
I can tell you when the last time it is that we did that besides the Vikings, and it was last season, because I think that's the biggest difference between this team this year and the last team last year was that last year was like, what works? Let's drill it into the fucking ground. You saw it with the Packers. They were, I think at the time, a really good defense against the run, but it was working. So we just said, all right, we're going to run for 300 fucking yards between our running backs and quarterback. So like, I think that's one of the biggest differences I see. We talked about it early on was, I think even before the season started, was like, that team was so good because they did whatever it was that was working and just drove it into the ground. And that's not something, Joey, based on what you're saying, it's just kind of piggybacking on that, is like, we're not doing that. It's okay. And I think that's why you're seeing these games. It's not a decisive win. It's not a blowout like we had last year. It's more adversity in having to come back because we're sticking to that game plan rather than exposing what it is that works.
No, exactly. No, I mean, I couldn't say it better myself. It's crazy to see. I mean, again, I'm going to repeat myself. Like Shane Half puts out these stats about how good we are at passing between the numbers, and how we're the 4th least team in doing so. How good we are at running back screens, and we're the 2nd to last team in running back screens. It's just like we figure out things that we do well, and then we just completely abandon it. And it's just wild. And so, look, I'm optimistic. Obviously, we're optimistic. We went to the NovaCare Center today to cheer on the boys. Like, we're optimistic, and especially after what Matt Patricia said about adjusting, which is something that we have not seen this entire year. But I'm not optimistic that we're going to adjust on offense. Like, what scares me is we're playing a terrible, terrible, terrible defense. And let's say we have a decent day doing that. All right, AJ, Devontae, Dallas, go out there. Win. Like, and just not being like, hey, you know what? This guy's been terrible all year. Let's move guys over to him. And, let's try to do some pre-snap motion, see if he follows, see if he stays over there. Let's try and pick on him until they bring over and bracket or, have an extra safety over the top. Okay, their linebackers are playing terribly right now. They keep biting on this. Let's run a little more RPOs. They keep diving in on the running back. Jalen, you go ahead. Boot it out to the outside. No, they're just going to run the same bubble screens, the same deep shots, long developing plays. But my concern is, and I say concern, it's kind of a concern long term, is that it's going to be successful because this defense is so bad. And it's going to give them that false sense of security of, oh, we figured the offense out. Like, we're good. It's, it's fixed. But it's really just a really bad defense that you happen to be doing well against, because I need them, to bring out some creativity. When the most creative play that we've seen all season was that DeAndre Swift swing out on the fake tush push. Like, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. I mean, you had the one somewhat cool lateral to Dallas Goedert on the run out by Jalen Hurts, but it was executed so poorly that it was always going to be a negative to a line of scrimmage play. So let's make the offense so much easier for our team. Let's make it easier for our boys. Scheme guys open, pick on the weak links on these teams. And really, if you want to think about it, you've already clinched a playoff spot. You should be able to win these next 3 games. Use these as like almost like a training camp. Like try shit out. Like you, even if you want to wait until you have a comfortable lead, like even if you're like, you know what, we don't want to do it early, like this is your blueprint game. You know, that's what I'm going to say. These next 3 games are the blueprint games. Figure out what you need to figure out heading into the postseason. And hopefully we get lucky and the Lions lose and Dallas loses and we are in a position where we can actually rest people in week 18. Like that'd be really nice because we're not going to get the bye anymore. Like that's just not going to happen. So hopefully we catch some kind of luck where we have the opportunity to rest some guys, but use these as the blueprint games.
You took the words right out of my mouth. There's no better 3-game stretch to end the season than to try out some new stuff. And look, I just talked about Matt Patricia, right? I was not happy with the defense against Drew Lock. I know some people were like, oh, well, you know, the offense only scored 17.
It's Drew Lock.
I absolutely am upset with the offense. Do not get me wrong. I despise what happened with the offense. But yeah, letting Drew Lock go 92 yards should never happen in the history of anything. But my point is, I saw different things. I saw different things from Patricia that game that I hadn't seen all year. I saw safety blitzes. I saw stunts in the middle of the field. I saw a fake cornerback blitz and have him shoot out to a cover 3 concept in the flat. I saw a double mugged up look over the A gap and then one guy drop and then one guy still come. I saw a whole bunch of different stuff from this defense that just looked different. I even saw Nolan Smith and Patrick Johnson line up on the edge, but then actually become like sort of Mike linebackers on the play, which again, I'm not a fan of, but I'm seeing
we tried stuff.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm seeing him try stuff. And Jake, to your point, what better way to try some things than against teams where this isn't a Dallas or a San Francisco where you're like, oh man, we went 3 and out on this drive. That might have been the drive that lost us the game because this team's going to be hard to stop. No, you should be able to stop Tommy DeVito and Sterling Shepard and those guys. I'm sorry. You really, really should be able to. Okay. So you're going to get multiple opportunities. So now is the time to try stuff. I said it, and Chris, I don't think you were on the episode with us. A reverse is no longer considered a trick play. That's part of people's offenses now. Like fake to the running back and give it to the wide receiver going out. I see so many times Amon-Ra St. Brown will have 3 carries in a game. Cooper Kupp will have a couple jet sweeps. Guys like that all the time. Chris Godwin. I'll see these guys. Even CeeDee Lamb scored against Buffalo on a quick jet sweep. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the last time we had a wide receiver run a reverse or a jet sweep or anything like that. I can't tell you the last time we faked a running back screen and came back middle screen to Goddard or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you any of that stuff. And for the people that are like, oh, they run the quick wide receiver screens for -1 yards because they're setting up a play fake. When's the last time we faked the screen and hit somebody up top? It was A.J. Brown against Washington week 4, I think. Something like that. And then I'm looking at Seattle. They ran 1 wide receiver screen to DK Metcalf, and it got 12 yards. I'm like, we run 6 for 4 yards. I guess my point is I don't think at this point in the season, we've played 14 games. We're about to play 15 games. This is week 16. That you could be like, well, you know, we're still figuring. You no longer are figuring things out at this point. You no longer are. So either you do what you did on the defensive side of the ball where said, this isn't good enough. We need to incorporate change because by the time we get to the playoffs, we want to be better on this side of the ball. I need you to do the same thing on offense. And no, I'm not just pointing at Brian Johnson. I'm pointing at Nick Sirianni, everybody on offense, Jalen Hurts, Jeff Stoutland, the run game coordinator, pass game coordinator, everybody. And I'm saying, for the love of God, incorporate motion, incorporate some imagination, incorporate something other than Jalen Hurts in a shotgun doing a slow running back draw to Swift where it's clogged up. Put him under center. Run some play-action bootlegs.
You know how many passes we've run from under center this season?
3, 4? I don't know. And it's always a shot play, it seems.
1.
Last night,
One pass play from
One.
under center through 14 games.
just show me some creativity. Show me something different. If it doesn't work, cool. We tried it. We scrapped it. You can say, hey, fans, guess what? We tried it. That's why we don't run that shit. It didn't work. But just throw something at the defense they haven't seen on film before.
Be nice.
I feel like it's one of those things too, where like early in the game they were running the ball and it was like, oh shit, this is working. This is exactly what we wanted. Swift was breaking out some pretty big runs. I keep going back to Seattle, but it's getting somewhere here. Is what I'm getting at is it's like, oh, it didn't work. We're gonna abandon it. It's like it works, it stops, and then it's like it's gone. Delete it from the playbook, and I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Like if something's working, it doesn't work once. Hey, maybe try it again and just like a little bit. Like give it some time, but it's like they abandon it at the quickest sign of a problem or it not working. And that's pretty damn frustrating. I'm not going to lie. They just never come back to it.
No, it's weird. And you got Nick Sirianni talking about how they're running through the same plays that they ran last year. They're not. Like, that's just simply a lie. Like, they're not using the same playbook. It's not the same plays. It's just so apparent. You know, it almost seems like, you know, I saw a meme out there where it's like Ask Madden, like Brian Johnson, that's his playbook. It's just Ask Madden every time. And, you know, he keeps scrolling down until he sees 4 verts. And it's like, all right, there we go. Like we've all played where we're just like, can we just do 4 verts every play? You know, hold triangle, do the fast pace, run the line, 4 verts again. Just keep it running. And then he's like, ooh, I'll get him. Bubble screen. And you're like, oh,
QB draw.
Yeah, quarterback draw. And it's the same kind of stuff and very little creativity. But look, this is the time where we can break it out. These are the teams that we can break it out against, you know, knock some rust off of it, really fine tune it and get yourself into a position. And really, if it works out to where, and I said this last week, if it works out to where they figured out just before the postseason, I mean, that's perfect. Because, you know, you got teams looking at what they've been doing all season long, expecting that. And now we're finally creative. We finally figured out what our identity on offense is. I mean, we talked about 3 weeks ago, or even then we were like, you know, what's the Eagles' identity? Like, what's their offensive and defensive identity? And we're like, there isn't one. Like, they just simply don't have one. That their identity is not having an identity. And so if they're able to find their identity at like the last game of the season, that's perfect. We saw, you know, September 20th, 2022, the Phillies were still pretty bad. They just absolutely limped into the postseason. Didn't seem like they even wanted to be there. Finally broke the drought that they were on. And then what'd they do? They went on a magical run that, you know, didn't end the way we wanted it to, but they went on a run because they got hot. They got lucky in the game 1 of the wild card, but that's all it takes. I mean, in 2017, we earned that 1 seed, but those last games were not pretty. Like, we earned it by just squeaking out wins against bad opponents, or like a win against bad opponents. And then again, similar to the Phillies wild card, we squeaked it out against the Falcons. And then what'd we do? We ran the damn gauntlet. We were able to figure this out. Get hot, get an identity, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Watch the fuck out.
And I mean, is it against the law? Is it against the law to put Britton Covey in the game and just like throw him one of these damn screens? You know, throw him one of these screens that you throw to all the other guys that don't work, or
you got to feel like he's earned it at this point.
But I mean, but just like put him in orbit motion. He's so quick and shifty. I'm not saying you got to give him the ball, but if, like with the Rams offense, what they run with all their constant motion and teams like that, if you're putting him in motion at 90 miles an hour across the formation and then say hike, a defense has to be like, okay, what's going on? Where's he at? And you delay for half a second. Boom. Now Goddard's behind you. Now Smitty's in front of you. Now AJ has one-on-one. There's just so many different things. And like, we're just average Joes sitting at home talking about this shit. But like, I even talked about it on the pod like a few weeks ago. Like, what about just like a wildcat look on 2nd and 1 one time? Like wildcat. Like, instead of lining up Hurts under there, the defense would be like, okay, hold on. They don't run this. What are they doing? Like, is this a trick play?
Yeah.
What? Next thing you know, it works. You have all these different possibilities. Just stop asking Madden and jamming the same button again. Like, oh, press an X, press an X, press an X. Let's run this
No,
play
you got,
again.
you got our boy John Barchard being like, he said it all year. He's like, it'd be cool. Run a 2 quarterback play. Have Mariota and Hurts out there at the same time. Like, have one of them start.
Creativity is like,
yeah.
I feel like we're back in like the 1920s or 1910s where like certain people weren't allowed to have a voice or speak up in the workplace. So like, I have a great idea that would improve business infrastructure and
Shut up.
Profitability. How dare you speak out of turn? Like that's what I feel like the Eagles are. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna run these same 3 plays whether you like it or not. My father before me ran these 3 plays. Like
His father before him.
Yeah, I built this country on these 3 plays, and we shall bomb it to AJ. Like, I mean, come on, we got to be fucking creative, right? Like, we created the tush push essentially, right? Like, we kind of did that. Like, there's so many cool plays. Like, if I think of you were putting together like the ultimate team, I got a mobile brick shit house at quarterback. Think of all the creativity there. I have an absolute Tyrannosaurus Rex monster in AJ Brown with a ballerina on the other side with Devontae Smith. Then I got a cyborg, at tight end. I got a shifty, fast fucking running back in Swift, along with a brick wall line. Man, let me win like a competition, be coach for a day, and let me call some fucking plays. Like, you could come up with such cool shit, and I feel like we're just jamming the same button. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah. So you guys talked about these being a blueprint game. Jake, you talked about how we got to find our identity. The last time I was on with Joey and Sean, we talked about just getting our swagger back, dude. We talked about it in regards to Seattle. Like, these 4 games are get our swagger back, get some wins under our belt, and feed that kind of energy and that vibe. Hoping, Jake, we brought some of that today, but that's off.
Oh, no
off
doubt.
Topic.
No doubt.
Yeah.
100%. Yes,
yeah,
you did.
Hell yeah. But
the gang saved the
3
season.
wins. Yes, they did. Cue the Always Sunny music. But I mean, use these 3 games, man. Get some swagger. Like, and I actually love the idea that we're being counted out. Jalen lost the MVP. This team's not going to make it a push. Underdog mentality. Like 2017, Jake, you talked about it. Like, we went into the playoffs. Not a fucking person in the world thought we were going to win the Super Bowl. This is the underdog mentality. That's why I brought that sign. That's why I brought my dog mask today. This is the dog mentality team. So, like, feed into that shit. The swagger, the dog mentality. Let's fucking ride it, man.
Let them disrespect you. You shut them up though.
Hell yeah.
But you gotta shut them up. This team has the skill. That's, if it was a team that we felt as though got lucky a lot of the year and didn't have a whole lot of potential, like, we would still love them, no doubt. Like, again, we all bleed green, but it'd probably be less likely that we go out there. Like, we went out there because we love this team and because we know we have the skill to be great. We know we have the skill to win the Super Bowl. And so that's why, that's a big reason why we were out there, because we can't punt on this team. This is still a damn good team with some dogs on it. Just
Literally and figuratively.
let's go. Dogs on it.
Love it.
Exactly. So we got to get it. We got to get them back on track. No better time to do so. I know we talked a ton of offense. We talked defense a little bit earlier in more of a broader season-wide sense. But is there anything on defense that you really need to see or that you're really expecting to see this game before we get into players to watch, score prediction, and final thought?
We touched on it for sure. I want to see the line get home.
Yeah.
I want to see the line stuff.
Yeah, to me,
run.
pressures are meaningless. Like, when we don't contain anybody, pressures are meaningless.
Yeah, like, get home. It doesn't even have to be a forced fumble. Just sack the fucking quarterback. Stuff the run. This team was so good against stuffing the run. And it's like, okay, we're going to kind of give you some. We're going to bend, don't break mentality against your against your tight ends across the middle of the field. But we're going to stop the run. Good luck. We kind of lost that. I don't know where that went. It seems like ever since the Chiefs game, it just disappeared. So I would love to see the D-line get home and stuff to run a little bit more because, you got Saquon, you got some, we got to stop a good running back. So definitely want to see that.
Saquon. I got 3 things I'm looking for on defense. D-line, and D-line. That's really all I'm looking for. I'm going to be honest with you. I know what the linebackers are. So what you get out of there is just nothing new to me. I know with Slay being out, there's going to be, some issues here and there, in coverage. But this defensive line has zero excuses, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Zero. This is a D line that almost set the NFL record last year in sacks. This is a D line going up against a horrible offensive line in the Giants with a quarterback who, since he has come in to be a starter, is the most sacked quarterback percentage-wise in the NFL. So again, this should be the most black and white, easiest answer for the defense ever is if this D-line just does what they're supposed to do. We're not saying break the sack record. Do what you're supposed to do. 2 first-round picks, Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. I need you to do what you do, and we should walk away from this game with an easy win, period. That's what I need to see from the defense.
No, 100%. I mean, I touched on it more in a broader sense, just team-wide, season-wide, but it's the same thoughts I had earlier. Just it's time to show up. Talk's great. Changing it's great. It'll be great to see. We already saw a little bit of a different system, different scheme from the defense, but let's go ahead, continually try to figure out what works best for our personnel, because look, you need to put your players in the best position to succeed. You heard players saying last year that they felt in the Super Bowl they weren't put in the best positions and all. Got to figure out what position is best for these guys. Got to start protecting on Bradbury's side. Maybe even bench him. I don't know. These would be the teams that you would do it against to send a message to him. But you also got to realize that he's not a man-to-man guy. He's going to continually, let up plays like that. So just call plays to really get the best out of your players. Not put them in positions, just square or a round peg into a square hole, or square peg into a round hole, whatever the saying is. You got to go ahead and figure out all the pegs and all the holes and how they all fit everywhere. Peg these holes.
I agree, and to that point, Jake, it's not just that he can't play man. To me, it's situational awareness. 3rd and 10 with 20-something seconds left. We used to have a phrase when I played it was called first down's not a touchdown. And I know that sounds weird, but first down's not a touchdown. It means we can live with them getting a first down here because of the clock, because of the score, because of the position in the game that they're in. But we can't with a touchdown. So don't focus on the first down here. First down is not a touchdown. And I feel like that's what Bradbury should have been thinking. If I get beat on a 10-yard curl here, I make the tackle in bounds. They have no timeout. Clock is running. Drew Lock needs to come up, and he can't call a play. So he's either got to spike it, they lose it down, and they have 2 plays to win the game. But that should be it. Situational awareness. You don't have to be the best man corner to understand that. So
no, you're up 1 in the bottom of the 9th with a runner on second, 2 outs, the guy at the plate. Nothing's over your head. Nothing.
Not only that, a base is open too. A base is open. Like I can afford to throw this ball low and outside.
Exactly.
I cannot hang it.
You can't hang it, and you can't let it get past you. You're playing deep, just saying like, look, I can run in on a ball, but if it gets over me, game's over.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Same thing. It got over him. He got past him. He was playing sticks. Who knows why? And he seemed to do that 3 straight plays, and we lost the game. All right. Players to watch.
We doing offense, defense, or just in general? What?
I guess we'll start with offense, Coach.
All right, players to watch on offense. I mean, I think it's got to be the easiest answer is Jalen Hurts here, right? Amidst all the criticism, amidst
might be a clean
game.
sweep.
Yeah, I need a 4 touchdown day from him. I mean, or if it's not going to be a 4 touchdown game, I need your stats to get us down there to where we easily run it in, or one of the others. So
3 straight games with under 20 points can't do.
Yeah, I need an offensive explosion like we know you're capable of. So Jalen Hurts is my guy. I know.
Chris?
I mean, as soon as I locked eyes with him today, I was picking. I knew
course.
I was picking Jalen Hurts. It wasn't a shot. I wasn't picking him. So yeah, I mean, I'll go Jalen Hurts basically for the same reasons that this is one of those games where like I need him to come in and feel great. Like I need him to come in and dice up the Giants because I know that he can. Christmas Day, all black. We're showing up to the Giants funeral. Let's go out there, hopefully, have a Jalen Hurts day. I'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, it's got to be Jalen Hurts. Look, you don't get a nod like that from the kid and not know that he's back. I mean, he went to the podium. He went to the podium with a smile saying he feels great. I'm like, yeah, we cured him. We fixed the kid. We have that we have that magic touch. So yeah, it's got to be Jalen. He's having a great day, legs and arm. Going to go out there doing this thing. The offensive line and pass protection the past month has been just remarkable. I mean, they have been really, really strong. So look for him to stay in the pocket just a bit longer, not doing that rollout to the right. Trust his guys to give him good protection, and he's going to deliver for us. On defense, it's a tougher one. I mean, because like you said, you need to see stuff on the defensive line. And it seems like most of the time on defense, I've been picking, because like our players to watch, we either pick somebody we expect to go off or somebody we need to play well. Those are kind of the two parameters. And you usually specify like, this is a guy I see going nuts, or it's like, hey, this is a guy I need to have a good game. Do I necessarily believe he's going to? I don't know. But if they want to be successful, they absolutely need to have a good game. And this is kind of a tough one for me, but like you've used before, Coach, I got to just go a unit here, and it's got to be the defensive line.
Might be another.
I agree with you.
Here.
I mean,
clean sweep, defensive line.
Clean sweep, except I'll give one little caveat. I need a bounce back game on defense from either a Bradbury or a Sidney Brown type player, like somebody that just no showed against Seattle. I need you.
Sidney Brown first half was pretty solid.
Yeah, and then
second half was terrible. He couldn't tackle. He was out of position. That was bad.
Couldn't tackle. I need you to just slow it down a little bit, brother. Like, not everything needs to be 900 miles an hour going in like a Dawkins tackle. Like, chop your feet a little bit, square up. I need you to just slow down a bit. But no, yeah, I'll go D-line with you. I mean, that makes the most sense here.
Chris, score prediction?
D-line too.
Oh, go ahead.
Score prediction.
No, you can finish your thought.
I'm going to go with D-line too. I was going to try and pick a player. I'm like, Jalen Carter looked great last game. I would love to see him do it again. I think he could do it again. But then Sweat, Reddick. I could just rattle off names. So I'm going D-line as well, just for the clean sweep, and that's just what I need to see.
Exactly. Score prediction?
I think we dropped 30. That's a number that just jumped out of my head. So I'm sticking with 30, but I think it's like 30 to like 17 is where I'm at. I think the defense still gives up some points, but I think a lot of those 17 come late in the game and kind of just trying to claw back, but it's not going to be enough.
Love that. Coach?
I know it's another rain game, and that's the only type of games that the Eagles play in anymore are rain games.
Jesus.
I'm going to go 24-16 Eagles. I think it'll be it's the first time we score over 20 in 3 straight games. This will be the 4th game.
You need 4 touchdowns, and you're not even predicting them?
We're going for 2 every time and missing it. So, yeah, I know. One of those is not going to hit. So, yeah, I'm going 24-16. Weird score.
All right. No, I mean, offense is getting on track in a big way. Big statement game. They're going to come back and really – because, look, like – they didn't score. They had some poor ends to the games, but Wild and Colin Cowherd is the voice of reason, and he's like, look, they controlled that game. They just lost it. And so we're starting to kind of figure it out. Offense is going to be clicking against just an abysmal team. So I'm actually going 33-16.
Nice.
I like it.
They kick a number of field goals. The Giants do, and it's just going to be a real side game altogether. And I think it's going to be their leading game of takeaways. I think they're getting like 3 takeaways.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Look, thank you for everybody, all the new listeners, following on to us after our big event over at the NovaCare today. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in all the way through the episode. Look. You got any feedback? Shoot it our way. Like, we're here to make the best episode for you, for Eagles fans, for Philly sports fans. We do talk other sports right now. Obviously, Bird Central. That's what it is. This is a football town. But Joel Embiid's playing great. It's out of his melon. Flyers are playing nutty right now. But look, you got any feedback? Send it our way. And for anybody that's really dogging us, you want to come on? Look, like, we're not even going to fight you. Like, it's going to be over the computer. We can't even punch you. So just, send us a message. We'll debate you. we'll defend our position. We'll hear yours because at the end of the day, we all bleed green. Final thoughts, Chris?
Yeah. I'll give my final thoughts. It's a big thanks to the Eagles, man. And I'm gonna go off of today's event. And you said it. I just want to say it myself. Thanks to the Eagles, their social team, the players for showing some love, the security guys at NovaCare.
Oh, they're awesome.
They were throwing up signs, taking pictures. Like anybody that stopped by, drove by, whatever. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Dunkin' Donuts, NJ.com, whatever. Right? Everybody made today such a success. So yeah, I appreciate everybody.
Coach?
All Blacks uniforms on Christmas Day. We usually destroy the Giants. We usually destroy the Giants in those uniforms as well. Look, you can be an asshole any other month of the year. 'Tis the season to be thankful, to be merry, to be joyous, to be happy. All right? Stop being dickheads and assholes. Enjoy the Eagles because they're going to give us a present on Christmas of a W. And we're going to be back, not just the Eagles, but all as fans as one. So everybody tighten up. Have a Merry Christmas. Eagles are getting this dub.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to kind of actually, you took both of my final thoughts. I was going to just thank again the Eagles organization, NJ.com, Dunkin, the whole staff over there at the NovaCare, really just top tier organization. And then Merry Christmas. Got to finish it with the old MC. Merry Christmas, everybody.